This is Paul Lane on line 5. Hello, sir.
Pete, how you doing this afternoon?
Not bad, and yourself?
Good, sir, good. Pete, I guess I wanted to pick up where Danny Dumarest left off on the PUB report regarding Dark NL.
Yep.
And, you know, while it's great to see, you know, the PUB coming out with this report, really what all they've done, you know, in one sense is they've pointed out what we already knew as part of certainly the Liberty report. I think we all knew by now that, you know, that Newfoundland Hydro was definitely at fault for what happened because they weren't doing the maintenance, which was obviously, you know, critical to be done. And if you're running any operation, that you have equipment, you have to be doing maintenance. And as Danny said, the fact that they hand out corporate bonuses as opposed to pink slips after that incident is beyond me. But the part that hasn't come out in the PUB report and it hasn't come out in the Liberty report, and the questions that still have not been answered, to my mind at least, is who was involved and why were the decisions made. Like, it's fine to say it was Nalcor's fault. Nalcor is, Newfoundland Hydro's fault. Newfoundland Hydro is a company, but there's individuals within that company that make these decisions. So, you know, in terms of the maintenance not being done, like, for example, I really do not believe for 1 second that the power engineers, electricians, and, you know, the qualified staff and so on that would be at Holyrood and would be responsible for the other sites, I do not believe that they just decided, let's skip the maintenance. Let's not do the maintenance for a number of years. Let's not buy that new equipment that we need. Let's not replace these parts. Like, I don't believe that happened. I also don't believe that the supervisor on the supervisory level would have said to the boys, you come in here now all day and sit back and do nothing. You don't need to maintain that machinery. Like, that didn't happen. So, you know, the question is, who made that call? Who was the person or persons?
How far up does it go?
That decided that we weren't going to do maintenance on this equipment.
Right.
You know, was it at the director level? Was it at the CEO? Was it the board? Was it the Minister of Natural Resources office? Was it the Premier and Cabinet? Who made that call? We weren't going to do it, and then why? That's the other question. Why weren't we going to do it? Was it because Muskrat Falls would be coming online, so why waste money on something that we're going to get rid of anyway? You know, and so let's roll the dice and hope everything works out. Was it a case of we can't afford to do the maintenance? Is it a case of let's take that maintenance money and spend it on something else? Like, why? So these are two critical questions to my mind. Why was it not done? And who specifically was involved in that decision not to do it, and then to make sure that whoever was involved is held accountable for those decisions. And we've seen no accountability at Newfoundland Hydro and Nalcor, as far as I'm concerned, as it relates to this particular issue.
But to have these condemning reports coming out and pointing at, and a buck stop somewhere within Hydro, to allow this to go ahead and not step up and sort of say, well, you know what, you might well think that more could have and should have been done by these individuals, decisions made by the board, etc., and not sort of say they were handcuffed themselves. It's pretty much leaving them under the bus, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then to give them bonuses on top really stirs up the public so that everybody's calling for some heads to roll here.
It certainly does, and I believe that if this had been a privately owned company as opposed to a publicly owned company, because, I mean, let's face it, it's our company, we own it, we are the only shareholder. Had that happened in private industry, from my experience working in private industry, heads would have rolled and pink slips would have been handed out, not bonuses. But, you know, the fact that it didn't happen, then that only leads me to the to the conclusion, or makes you wonder, well, why didn't it happen? Could it possibly be because the people that were running the affairs at Nalcor and at Newfoundland Hydro Nalcor were only doing what they were told to do by the board, or
and that there could be ramifications.
What they were being told to do by the Premier's office and by the Minister's office. So
there could be legal ramifications for taking for leaving them at the responsibility and hanging them out to dry with a pink slip as well as the public condemnation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, the bottom line is that until we have the answer to these fundamental questions, We really don't know who's at fault. I mean, it's very easy to be condemning of Nalcor and of Newfoundland Hydro. And listen, I've been one of the biggest critics on this issue.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they may have only done what they were directed to do as well.
That's it. Good luck. Good luck getting the actual truth of the matter. It might come out in a book 20 years down the road or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, Pauline, I'm going to try to squeeze in one more call. Thanks for your time today, but good points.
Not a problem, Pete. And like I said, I'm calling for accountability here. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye.